What's up, my YTStrider rider crew? I want to drop some knowledge here and tell you guys what the actual danger of motorcycling is. Now, there are two dangers to riding a motorcycle, and that is yourself and everybody else. And people seem to think that speed kills. And for those of you who know what Top Gear is, Jeremy Clarkson points out a very important fact. Speed has never killed anybody. It's the sudden stop that gets you. Because speed has never killed anyone. It never has. It's the sudden stop that kills you. And people seem to be afraid of speed because they think if you're going fast, you're going to die. But they're missing out on a logical continuation of that thought. And they need to just kind of think about it a little further and realize it's that stop. For example, people seem to think that I'm too scared on my motorcycle to ride out on the freeway. I'm gonna ride city streets the whole time. That's actually more dangerous. And they go, oh well, it's less speed. It doesn't matter if it's less speed. Speed will never kill you. It's the sudden stop. That's a cop. Now the thing is though, is if you're out and no, it wasn't a cop. If you're out on the freeway and you get taken out, you probably aren't going to be doing a sudden stop. You're going to slide. And road rash does hurt too, but generally it won't kill you. The road rash will. It's the impact. It's the impacts, that sudden stop. And the most common accident is a motorcycle collision head-on at a city intersection. It just is. Statistically, that's what happens. You'll be going along just like this, and like there's an intersection right here. They won't realize how close I am, and they'll cut in front of me, and I won't have enough distance to stop. And the very simple, you cannot argue about this. It's not a debatable thing. A motorcycle is a smaller object. Therefore, with the way our eyes work, it's perceived to be further away than a car because it's smaller. And since we have two eyes, it's this angle that judges our distance. That's it. It's just that simple. A motorcycle is smaller and seems to be further away. Speaking of the popo, it's not a debatable thing. It's very, very simple. That if you are a motorcycle, you are a smaller object and therefore perceived to be further away. So they won't be trying to cut you off, but they will be cutting you off nonetheless. That is the most common accident type that is primarily the driver's fault. Now, if the motorcyclist was going a little bit slower, they might have a better chance of survival. They nodded to me. That's kind of cool. However, if the car wasn't there, the rider would be fine. If it's the rider's fault, look at all that water. That'll kill you if you're not aware of it. The most common fault by the actual rider themselves, him or herself, is when they go wide on a corner because they get scared. Again, maybe the scared wasn't the reason they did it. They logically, rationally thought they couldn't make it. But the thing is it's about chance and odds. If I go wide on a corner, let's say it's a right turn, and I go into opposing traffic and I get hit, I'll die. It's pretty certain of that. I mean, yes, I might survive, but it's a pretty good chance that I'm just gonna die. However, if you just gonna kind of suck it up a little bit and grow some cojones, and you lean more, you might make it. You might be fine. And if you're not fine, you will be in no worse a position than you were if you hadn't just leaned extra. So if you're ever in a corner and you kind of get that little feeling in your stomach of, oh, I don't know if I can make it, lean more, because if anything happens, you'll low side and then be in the way of opposing traffic. But if you straighten up and go into opposing traffic, you're still in opposing traffic. You're still in opposing traffic. But there's a chance, which is a relatively large chance, that you will just lean more, be scared, maybe scrape some more peg, and then just be just fine. Then you'll learn how to lean your bike over a few degrees more than you thought you could. That's it. It's that simple. The car will cut you off because you're smaller and they think you're further away, or you get scared before the bike runs out of potential. That's it. It's that simple. I mean, I do not have a sports bike by any means, and I've ground peg on this thing. Man, the people are like, "Oh, you got a cruiser." Sure, I have a cruiser, but my pegs are in the exact same places as if it was a sports bike. I mean, my pegs are like way up here. The only difference is my seat is flat. It's not angled. Because if I do this, now I'm kind of a sports bike. If I just put the bars down here, I mean, there, sports bike, just like that. So that excuse really doesn't work. You need to be aware of what it actually is that's going to kill you when you're on a motorcycle. Because people worry about the wrong things sometimes. And sometimes worrying about the wrong things is more dangerous than not worrying about anything. Because you can't be careless when you ride a motorcycle. You have to see things, be aware of things, and be cautious of different things than if you were driving a car. And it's really just that simple. You just need to be aware of the dangers around you, but you also need to know more accurately what those dangers are. Speed doesn't really scare me. Sometimes I'll be afraid of, oh, what'll happen if I have a blowout? Well, that's reasonable. But the actual speed of doing maybe just 100, that doesn't really scare me that much. It's the cars around me that'll scare me. Because me going 100 miles an hour does not matter. Going 100 miles an hour doesn't get anybody killed. Going 100 miles an hour into somebody's trunk, now that might kill somebody. But without that whole trunk part, it doesn't matter. Like right now, I mean, I'm pretty much perfectly safe. The only reason I wouldn't want to do this a lot is because I might get a ticket. That'd be funny if there was a cop right there. Well, not funny. It would really suck. But that's an entirely different fear, and you need to know which fears you're dealing with when you ride. You need to be conscious of everything, really. But you also need to be you need to have that subconscious fear for your life, but it needs to be based on conscious, rational thinking about what's going to take your life, not just some things, because some things isn't really going to help you react. In short, what I'm trying to say is that it's good to have fear. Fear keeps you alive. However, having irrational fears can be more of a hindrance than a help. Ride safe, everybody. Stay alive.